I won a foxy alien woman in a dangerous high-stakes auction. The underground auction house reeked of desperation and credits.
Let's make this night unforgettable.
Neon lights flickered across faces. I'd rather not remember smugglers. Crime lords, collectors of things that shouldn't be collected. I shouldn't have been there.
You look so serious. Let's have some fun.
I was just another cargo hauler trying to make ends meet. Then
this is exciting, isn't it?
Very. Let's make it more interesting.
Stay up or take his place in the labor camps. They'd said dot, so here I was. 50,000 credits in borrowed money, burning a hole in my account. Looking for anything valuable enough to flip for profit. The auction moved through its grim inventory. Stolen tech, forbidden weapons, narcotic compounds. Then the lights dimmed. She emerged on the platform in shackles. My breath caught. She was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Blonde, wavy hair cascaded past her shoulders, catching the stage lights like spun gold. But it was the other features that marked her as decidedly not human. The elegant fox-like ears that swiveled atop her head, alert despite her bound state. Orange fur traced delicate patterns along her arms and disappeared beneath the tattered cloth they dressed her in. Behind her, a magnificent tail swayed, thick and luxurious. The same orange as her fur, with blonde highlights that matched her hair. Her eyes amber, and fierce scanned the crowd with barely concealed hatred. Lot 47, the auctioneer announced. Female Catherine. Prime specimen. Highly intelligent, multilingual, excellent physical condition. Starting bid, 20,000 credits. The room erupted. Numbers flew. 30,000. 40. I watched her face as the bids climbed, saw the way her ears flattened against her skull, the way her tail lashed behind her. She wasn't resigned. She was calculating, looking for any opportunity to escape. 60,000, 70. The bidding slowed. The remaining players were serious, a Vorten flesh trader and a human I recognized as Dmitry Volkov, known for his private collection of exotic beings. The way he stared at her made my skin crawl. 80,000, Volkov called out smoothly. The Vorten hissed but didn't counter. I should have stayed silent, should have let it end there. Instead, I heard my own voice. 85,000. Every head turned. Volkov's eyes narrowed. 90. I was insane. This was all the money I had, all I could borrow, and my last chance to clear the debt. 100,000. The silence stretched. Volkov studied me, then smiled coldly. He knew he could go higher, but something in my desperate expression must have amused him. He waved dismissively. Sold. The gavel cracked like a gunshot. On stage, the Catherine woman's amber eyes locked onto mine. Not with gratitude, with fury. They brought her to me in a private room, still shackled. 2 armed guards flanked her, shock prods ready. Up close, she was even more striking, her features a perfect blend of human beauty and vulpine grace. Small fangs showed when she snarled at me. Sign here, a board clerk said, thrusting a datapad forward. Standard property transfer. She's chipped, so if she runs, we can track. I need the shackles off, I interrupted. The guards laughed. The clerk frowned. Sir, that's not advisable until you've secured her in off. Now. One guard shrugged and deactivated the restraints. They clattered to the floor. The Catherine woman rubbed her wrists, ears flat, tail bristled. She was coiled like a spring, ready to attack or flee. I held up my hands, stepping back. I'm not going to hurt you. Her lip curled. Liar. Your kind always, we need to leave. Right now. I glanced at the door. In about 30 seconds, Volkov's going to realize I don't have the money to actually pay for this. And then we're both dead. Her eyes widened slightly. One ear twitched forward. You? What? I'm broke. This was stupid. But I couldn't let him take you. I pulled out a small plasma cutter from my jacket. There's a maintenance shaft behind that panel. I scouted it earlier. We can make it to the docks if we move fast. She stared at me, clearly trying to determine if this was some elaborate trick. Then alarms blared through the building. Decision time, I said, already moving toward the panel. She moved like liquid lightning, crossing the room in a blur. Together, we pried open the panel. The guards outside shouted, fists pounding on the locked door. She dove into the shaft first, her tail barely clearing the opening as I followed and sealed it behind us. The maintenance tunnels were narrow, dirty, and dark. She navigated them with predatory grace, her night vision clearly superior to mine. I struggled to keep up as she led us down, away from the shouting and alarm klaxons. "What's your name?" I gasped, crawling after her. "Why should I tell you?" She shot back. "You bought me." "I'm Jake, and I didn't buy you. I made a very expensive distraction." She paused at an intersection, ears swiveling to catch distant sounds. In the dim emergency lighting, her fur seemed to glow. "Rena, my name is Rena." "Nice to meet you, Rena. Now please tell me you know where we're going." A hint of a smile crossed her face, the first I'd seen. "The docks. I can smell the fuel from here." We emerged into the loading bay 15 minutes later, covered in grime. My ship, the Vagrant Star, waited in berth 12, a beat-up cargo hauler that had seen better decades. Behind us, voices echoed through the tunnels. "That yours?" Rena asked skeptically. "She flies, mostly." I hit the ramp release. We barely made it inside before the first shots rang out. Rena dove behind a cargo container, moving with a fighter's instincts. I scrambled to the cockpit, fingers flying over controls. The engines whined to life. Thank God for that recent overhaul. "Strap in." I yelled. "Where?" She called back from the cargo bay. "Anywhere. Just hold on." The Vagrant Star lurched upward, tearing free of the docking clamps. Alarms shrieked. Station security opened fire, but we were already accelerating toward the exit port. I punched the throttle, and we shot into open space. For 3 minutes, we fled in tense silence as I plotted a jump to hyperspace, praying they wouldn't scramble fighters. When we finally made the jump, and the ship settled into the relative safety of faster-than-light travel, I slumped back in my seat, footsteps behind me. Rena stood in the cockpit doorway, tail swishing slowly, ears forward and alert. "You really did it," she said softly. "You freed me. Technically, I think we freed each other." I turned to face her. "I'm still wanted by the Syndicate, and now Volkov's entire organization is probably after both of us." She moved closer, studying me with those penetrating amber eyes. "Why? Why would you risk everything for someone you don't even know?" I thought about my brother, about all the bad choices that led me to that auction. Because someone should have done it for him. And because it was the right thing to do. Rena's hand tipped with small, retractable claws reached out and touched my shoulder. The gesture was tentative, as if she'd forgotten what kindness felt like. "Thank you, Jake." For the first time since this insane night began, I smiled. "You're welcome." The first 3 days in hyperspace were tense. Rena kept to the cargo bay, treating the ship like a cage she hadn't yet figured out how to escape. I gave her space, left food outside the door she'd claimed as her quarters, tried to project non-threatening calm. Her ears would flatten whenever I approached, tail bristling. On the 4th day, I found her in the cockpit. She stood before the viewport, bathed in the swirling colors of hyperspace, her reflection ghostly in the glass. The way the light played through her blonde hair and across the orange fur of her arms was mesmerizing. Her tail hung low, almost touching the floor, a sign of exhaustion or sadness. I'd learned. Couldn't sleep? I asked quietly from the doorway. Her ear flicked back, acknowledging my presence. I haven't slept properly in 8 months. Not since they captured me. I moved slowly into the cockpit, settling into the pilot's chair. Do you want to talk about it? Why? So you can catalog my trauma? There was no real venom in her words, just weariness. So you can share the weight of it. If you want. Rena was silent for a long moment. Then she turned, leaning against the console. In the soft cockpit lighting, her features seemed softer, more vulnerable. I was a navigator on a deep space explorer. We found something a derelict ship with technology my people had never seen. There were others there too. Raiders, they killed my crew, took me because... She gestured at herself. Catherine females are rare off our homeworld. Exotic, valuable. I'm sorry. The words felt inadequate. They passed me between slavers like cargo for months, each one promising to sell me to someone appropriate. That's how I ended up at the auction. Her tail lashed once. I'd almost given up. Then you made that stupid bid. It was pretty stupid, I agreed, which earned me a surprised laugh, short and sharp, but genuine. You're not what I expected, she admitted, moving closer. She settled into the co-pilot's chair, her tail draping over the armrest. When I first saw you, I thought, well, I assumed the worst. Can't blame you for that. I pulled up a holo display showing our current position and destination. We're 3 days from the frontier nexus. It's neutral territory, no syndicate influence, and Volkov won't risk operating openly there. We can lay low, figure out our next moves. Rena studied the display, her sharp eyes taking in details. What about you? You said you're in debt to the syndicate. Was? Now I'm just a dead man with a head start. I tried to keep my tone light, but she saw through it. Jake. Her hand covered mine on the console. The contact was electric, her skin warm, the soft fur of her F. Forearm brushing against my wrist. We'll figure something out. Together. The word hung between us. Together. It implied a future I hadn't dared imagine. You don't owe me anything, I said. When we reach the nexus, you're free. Truly free. And if I don't want to leave? Her amber eyes held mine. Maybe I've been alone long enough. My heart hammered. Rena, teach me to fly this ship, she said suddenly. If we're going to survive whatever comes next, I need to be useful. I blinked at the change of subject, then nodded. Yeah, okay. We spent the next several hours at the controls, my hands guiding hers over the various systems. She was a quick study, her navigator's training, evident in how easily she grasped spatial mechanics and ship handling. We sat close, shoulders touching, and gradually her initial tension melted away. Try a course correction, I instructed. Just 5 degrees port. She made the adjustment smoothly. Her tail had begun to sway in a slow, content rhythm. Like this? Perfect. I realized I'd left my hand over hers longer than necessary. She noticed too, but didn't pull away. Jake? Her voice was soft. Yeah? Earlier, when you said I'm free. Did you mean it? Or were you hoping I'd stay? I turned to face her fully. I meant it. Your freedom isn't conditional on my wants. But I took a breath. If you asked me what I hoped for, I'd say I hope you stay. Not because I own you or you owe me. Because these past few days, even with the fear and uncertainty, have been the first time in a long while I haven't felt completely alone. Rena's ears tilted forward, a sign of interest, pleasure. She shifted in her seat, angling toward me. I haven't felt safe in months. Until now. Until you. The space between us felt charged. She leaned closer, her free hand reaching up to touch my face, claws retracted. Her palm was soft, warm. Is this okay? She whispered. Yes, I breathed. She closed the distance, her lips meeting mine in a kiss that was tentative at first, then deepening as I responded. She tasted like the sweet ration bars she favored, and her lips were surprisingly soft. When we finally broke apart, both slightly breathless, her tail was swishing in clear contentment. I think, she said, a smile playing at her lips, I'll stay. At least until we're both less wanted criminals. I laughed, pulling her closer. Deal. The alarm screaming through the ship shattered our fragile peace. I jolted from sleep, Rena's warmth beside me suddenly absent as she leaped from the bunk with feline grace. We'd fallen asleep in the crew quarters after a long evening talking, her head on my shoulder, her tail curled around my leg. What's happening? She demanded, already pulling on clothes. I stumbled to the cockpit, my mind still foggy. The display showed 3 ships closing fast Syndicate hunters, their signatures unmistakable. Damn it, they found us. How? We're still in hyperspace. They must have predicted our route. I yanked us out of hyperspace manually, a dangerous maneuver that made the whole ship shudder. We emerged into normal space near a debris field remnants of some ancient battle. We need to lose them. The first volley of weapons fire rocked the vagrant star. Rena gripped the console, her knuckles white. Can we fight? Against 3 hunter-killers? We'd last about 30 seconds. I threw us into a hard turn, diving toward the debris field. But I can fly dirty. For the next 20 minutes, I pushed every trick I knew, threading through narrow gaps in the wreckage, using sensor shadows, killing our power signature at critical moments. Rena proved invaluable, her sharp eyes spotting dangers before the sensors registered them, calling out trajectories with navigator's precision. Left! Wreckage spinning at coordinates. I banked hard, a massive chunk of hull plating missing us by meters. Behind us, one of the pursuit ships wasn't as lucky. It clipped the debris and spiraled away, venting atmosphere. 2 more, Rena noted grimly. They were better pilots, matching our moves, slowly closing the distance. Another hit rocked us, and alarms shrieked as the shields collapsed. Shields down, I reported unnecessarily. I know. Rena's tail lashed in agitation. Then her ears perked up. Jake, they're that asteroid. It has caverns large enough for a ship. We'd be trapped. Or hidden. They're tracking our engines. If we power down completely, it was insane. It might work. I aimed for the asteroid, pushing the engines to their limits. The hunters followed, weapons charging for a killing blow. At the last second, I killed everything engines, lights, life support. The vagrant star went dark and silent, momentum carrying us into the cavern's mouth. We held our breath in the darkness as the hunter ships streaked past. Seconds stretched into minutes. Finally, Rena whispered, "They're leaving." Moving to search other sectors. I didn't restart the engines. Not yet. We sat in the silent darkness, the only light coming from the emergency indicators. Slowly, my eyes adjusted enough to see Rena's form beside me, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark, another adaptation of her people. That was close, I said softly. Too close. Her voice shook slightly. Jake, they won't stop. The Syndicate doesn't forgive debts. I know. And Volkov. I heard the guards talking. He's personally leading the search for me. He doesn't like losing his prizes. I reached out in the darkness, finding her hand. She squeezed back hard. We'll figure something out. Will we? She moved closer, and I could feel her warmth, smell the subtle musk of her scent. Or are we just delaying the inevitable? Hey, I pulled her closer, wrapping an arm around her. She came willingly, pressing against me, her tail coiling around my waist. I didn't risk everything just to give up now. We'll find a way. Her face tilted up toward mine in the darkness. Promise? Instead of answering, I kissed her. This time there was urgency to it, desperation mixed with desire. Her hands gripped my shirt, claws pricking through the fabric. When we broke apart, we were both breathing hard. We should restart life support, I murmured against her lips. Before we suffocate. In a minute. She kissed me again, deeper, her body pressing against mine. Just hold me for a minute. So I did, there in the darkness of that asteroid, with hunters searching for us in the void outside. Her heartbeat thrummed against my chest. Her tail tightened around me, and for that moment, nothing else mattered. Eventually, we had to face reality. I restarted life support, but kept the engines cold. We'd wait here for 6 hours, let the search move on, then make a run for the Nexus. Jake? Rena said as we settled into the cargo bay, the ship too cold to stay in the cockpit comfortably. Yeah? After this is over. If we survive. What then? I pulled emergency blankets around us both. Her body nestled against mine. What do you want? I want? She hesitated. I want to go home. To Kethra. But I also want. Her hand found mine under the blanket. I don't want to lose this. Lose you. Then you won't, I said firmly. We'll go to Kethra. Both of us. You do that? Leave everything behind? Rena, everything for me is this broken ship and a death sentence. If I have a choice between that and starting over somewhere new with you, that's not even a choice. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she shifted, straddling my lap, her face inches from mine. You keep saying things like that. Things that make me believe in futures I'd stopped imagining. Good. I cupped her face, thumbs stroking along her jaw. Because I'm not going anywhere. She kissed me then, slow and sweet, and we lost ourselves in each other while outside. In the cold of space, our enemies hunted. The Frontier Nexus was a chaotic marvel, a station built from the hulls of 1,000 ships, grown organically over decades into a city-state unto itself. No single government claimed it. No law held absolute sway. It was the perfect place to disappear. We docked without incident, paid the harbor master in untraceable credits, and melted into the crowds. Rena drew stares her exotic appearance impossible to hide, but here, exotic was normal. Still, she stayed close, her hand in mine, tail tucked tight against her leg in a reflexive attempt to appear smaller. Where to? She asked, scanning the crowded plaza with alert amber eyes. Information broker, I know. If anyone can tell us how to clear my debt, or get you safe passage to Kethra, it's her. The broker, a cyborg named Kess, with more metal than flesh, greeted us in her cluttered office. She took one look at Rena and whistled low. Heard someone made off with Volkov's prize from the auction. Didn't believe it until now. Can you help us? I asked. Kess leaned back, optical implants whirring as they focused. Maybe. The syndicates put a price on your head, 50,000. But there might be a way to clear it. They're more interested in recovering their money than killing you. As for Volkov, she looked at Rena. He's obsessed. Turned it into a matter of pride. The only way you're safe from him is if he's dead, or believes you're dead. Faking my death won't work, Rena said flatly. He'll want proof. Then we need leverage, I said. Something that makes going after us more trouble than it's worth. Kess smiled, a disturbing sight with her metal jaw. Now you're thinking. I might have something. Volkov's operation? Built on illegal alien artifacts trafficking. Federal authorities would love actionable intel on his network. Give them that, and they'll offer protection. You have this intel? Rena asked. I can acquire it. For a price. How much? 20,000. And since you're broke? Kess looked meaningfully at the vagrant star's birth number on her screen. Your ship. Dawning in her eyes, I knew there was no real choice. Deal, I said. The next 3 days were a blur. Kess delivered the intel-solid evidence of Volkov's smuggling operation, including routes, contacts, and warehouses. We passed it to federal authorities, who guaranteed protection in exchange for testimony. Simultaneously, Kess arranged payment to the syndicate from an anonymous source, clearing my debt. It's done, Kess said on our final meeting. Volkov's being raided as we speak. The syndicate considers your debt settled. You're free to go. I felt numb, free. After months of running, it felt unreal. Rena's hand found mine. Jake, you okay? Yeah, just processing. We left Kess's office and wandered through the Nexus, neither of us speaking for a while. Finally, I led us to an observation deck overlooking the docking bays. The vagrant star sat in her berth, looking small and worn but still beautiful to me. I'm sorry about your ship, Rena said softly. Don't be. It was worth it. I turned to her. So what now? We're actually free. Both of us. Her ears tilted forward, a smile playing on her lips. I was thinking, Kethra is 3 weeks from here by standard transport. But if we took our time, saw some sights along the way. Our time? I repeated. You still want me around? Jake. She took both my hands. Her tail swishing in that contented rhythm I'd learned meant she was happy. You gave up everything for me. Your ship, your old life. The least I can do is show you my world. Introduce you to my people. Maybe. She hesitated, vulnerability showing through. Maybe help you build a new life there. With me, my throat tightened. You sure? I'm just a human cargo hauler with no prospects. You're the man who saw me as a person when everyone else saw property. Who risked death to free me. Who chose my safety over everything he owned. She rose on her toes, her lips brushing mine. You're everything. I kissed her properly then, deep and passionate, pouring everything I felt into it. When we broke apart, both breathless, I pressed my forehead to hers. I love you, I whispered. I know it's fast and maybe crazy, but I love you too, she interrupted, laughing. And yes, it's fast and crazy. But so was bidding everything you had to save a stranger. Best stupid decision I ever made. Second best, she corrected, grinning. The best was not claiming ownership once you'd won. Fair point. We booked passage on a transport, leaving the next day. That night, in a small room we'd rented, we celebrated our freedom the way we'd been dancing around for days. Rena was passionate and tender by turns, her alien nature adding fascinating dimensions to our intimacy. The way her tail wrapped around me, the soft sound she made in her throat when I kissed the sensitive fur at the base of her ears. The gentle prick of retracted claws when passion built. Every moment was a revelation. Afterward, tangled together in the narrow bunk, her head on my chest and her tail draped across us both like a blanket, she traced patterns on my skin. What are you thinking? I asked. That a year ago, I was exploring unknown space, thinking I understood what freedom meant. She looked up at me, amber eyes glowing softly in the dim light. Now, I know I didn't. Not really. Freedom isn't just the absence of chains. It's having someone who sees you, chooses you, values you. That goes both ways, I said, stroking the silky fur of her arm. You gave me purpose again. Made me remember what it means to fight for something beyond just survival. She kissed my chest, right over my heart. Promise me something? Anything. When we get to Kethra, when you meet my people and see my world. If you ever want to leave, tell me. Don't stay just because you think you owe me. I tilted her face up to mine. Rena, I'm not staying because I owe you. I'm staying because home isn't a place anymore. It's you. Tears sparkled in her eyes, the first I'd ever seen her shed. Happy tears. She kissed me, whispering against my lips, "Then welcome home." 3 weeks later, the transport dropped us at Kethra, a world of golden plains and crimson forests, where cities grew from living trees, and the sky held 3 moons. Rena's people greeted her return with joy and welcomed me with curious warmth. I'd lost everything, my ship, my old life, any chance of returning to what I was, but standing beside Rena as she showed me the sunset over her homeworld, her hand in mine and her tail wrapped around my waist, I realized I'd gained everything that actually mattered. We were free. We were together. We were home. The end.